Good evening. You're watching NewsX. I'm Megha Sharma. It's 6 p.m. So it means it is the Business World NewsX joint initiative with regards to the Atmanirbhar Bharat series that we have been doing every single day of the week, month after month, ever since the lockdown hit our nation. Joining me on the broadcast, a very special set of guests who are going to be talking about the economy. They're going to talk about businesses, entrepreneurs that have seen it all. It was an unprecedented set of affairs, but they've gone ahead, all guns blazing, and come out victorious. Joining me on the broadcast is Shruti Agarwal, who's the co-founder of Stashfin. It's a credit lending company. Sandeep Chetri, who's the COO of Trade India, joining me on the broadcast as well. Siba Pratab Das, who's the co-founder and COO of Atomberg, is also joining me on the broadcast. Nukul Upadhyay, who's the co-founder of Bijak, joining me on the broadcast as well. And last but not the least, Dr. Anurag Batra, chairperson and editor-in-chief of Business World magazine and exchange group. Coming to you, Anurag, congratulations first of all for going ahead and putting yet another feather on the Business World enterprise. You've gone ahead and yet again launched the Business World Security World yesterday. Or was it today?
Thank you so much, Megha. It's always a pleasure to host a show with you. You know, Business World is in the business of business and economy, but it's also in the business of building communities, whether business to business or business to consumer. Today we launched bwsecurityworld.com, which is a community for security industry, for the outsourced professional services industry. The Minister of State for whom Shri G. Kishan Reddy ji launched it. So we are hoping to build India's #1 community for the outsourced services and the security services. And in the lockdown, the security services professionals have shown that they are first responders. They are in some way frontline workers, because they are taking your temperature when you visit a mall or you go to your office or even enter a residential building. They just not only maintain security, but they're making sure that we are healthy and safe. But it's an honor to do this show on NewsX every evening, where we talk to various entrepreneurs, people who are in some way contributing to the economy. And we know that lives and livelihoods are intertwined, and the last 8 months have showed that. Let me start by asking Shruti Agarwal. Shruti, how have been the last 8 months for you? How have you pivoted in your business, and how do you see your business going forward?
So last few months have been very challenging for all entrepreneurs. But for us, from women's perspective, we've been able to grow the women force in our team. Areas that we found very tough to hire, especially STEM, we've been able to hire and retain a lot of talent in that space, keeping parents and families happy with people work from home.
Okay. Shruti, that's in terms of qualitative aspect. In terms of, you said the business has been challenging, and that's not surprising. But as you move into 2021, what are the positive things that kind of wind beneath your wings are factors that may take your business to a better level in 2021?
I think a startup which is profitable and focused on growth will grow very well. And fortunately, we have both the factors behind us.
Okay. Let me go to Nukul. Nukul, first of all, for our viewers, tell our viewers what your business is, and tell us how you in last 8 months have pivoted or done an orbit change, which has in some way prepared your business for 2021.
Yeah, thanks, Anurag, and congratulations on the launch. We at Bijak are an agritech platform. We essentially connect buyers and sellers of agri commodities. We allow them and enable them to trade with each other by using a layer of Bijak's. So a Bijak's layer of trust. Typically, for any market to work, there has to be minimum trust deficit, as low trust deficit as possible. We do this by creating buyer and seller ratings, which ensure that the counterparties have complete visibility, past transaction history of their counterparties, so that they can take a more informed choice. It also kind of enforces accountability, right? So because we rate every transaction that happens between a farmer and a trader or an aggregator and a trader, it kind of forces an accountability in terms of aligning the incentives to the right place. Somebody pays on time, pays a better price, does less quality deduction, should and is rewarded more supply, cheaper supply, better payment terms.
Absolutely. Nukul, looks like you're made for the current time, and it would be interesting to know your take on the current farmer agitation, and what is your take on, whether the 3 farm bills that were introduced in the parliament going forward, will they actually improve the lives of a farmer? Is there any merit in what the farmers are saying and agitating about? What's your view? Since you are a domain expert from this sector, clearly we can't not ask you this.
Right. So I think there's a lot of confusion around 2 separate topics getting mixed. The topic of MSPs, the minimum support price, is completely different from the topic of allowing private players to participate in activities. If you go into details, the MSP can and should probably exist in spite of those 3 laws. So I think that's the first point where there's a lot
that needs to be hammered home, or being, the farmers have to understand that the MSP is not being done away with, but other avenues of being able to market your yields and get better prices for those yields is a possibility. I would say it's a possibility. As you know, platforms like yours will enable it. Now tell me, farm sector over the last 8 months saw lots of, interventions from the government. These farm bills were one of those interventions. But food and the food sector, the vision of the Prime Minister of farm to fork, of one nation, one market, that started to take shape. Tell us, how does it augur for your business, and where do you see the Indian agriculture and farm sector next year? As we know, the contribution of agriculture to GDP had come down over the last 20 years, and services sector became 2/3 of the GDP. Do you see in some way the farm and agriculture sector growing at a pace because of agri-technology, because of better methods of irrigation? As you know, the consumption of water for a certain acreage in India is the most across the world. Also, the logistics cost in the world are the lowest, whereas in India, we have 14% as agriculture logistics cost, where it's what 6 to 8% depending on which market. So tell us, what's your outlook on the agriculture sector in 2021?
Right. So I think there are a couple of questions here. One, of course, is around what kind of impact do we see because of the recent changes in regulatory framework, recent changes in government's intent. So I think all in all, those are welcome moves, right? So as anyone from Agritech would agree with me here that these difficult times have actually created a lot of opportunities for Agritech, right? So whenever there is a sort of turbulence in terms, whether it's because of lockdown or because of lack of liquidity or export restrictions, people tend to look for new relationships. So as a seller or supplier, you tend to look for new buyers. And that creates a lot of players in the Agritech space, including us. Having said that, at the end of the day, when you see a lot of participation, so if I talk about the recent bill, it does away with license requirements or that you have to be a licensed APMC trader to procure from farmers. There's a sudden burst of new buyers in the space, and they necessarily are not institutional players. So a lot of discussions are around, new players, big corporate, but it could also be all those traders in the rural space, all those micro entrepreneurs who were restricted from buying in those markets because of the...
So in a classic management term, we're expanding the market by bringing in newer players. by that definition, the farmers should benefit, because really you're bringing new buyers who, to gain market share, should be able to at least match the last prices or outbid them. And the sellers have a choice of a larger pool of buyers. So from that construct, clearly the government steps are progressive and not regressive, as being seen by the farmers. Shubham, at this point, let me come to you. Tell our viewers in NewsX and Business World, what do you do and what is the pivot you've taken in the last 8 months to be able to make an impact?
Thanks, Anurag, for having me here on the show. We at Attenberg design and manufacture smart and energy-efficient home appliances, which we distribute with a digital-first omnichannel strategy. I mean, last 8 months, the entire industry has seen a lot of changes. For us specifically, what we did is that fortunately what we're doing is exactly what this trend is pushing everyone to do, which is working on smart, energy efficient and digital first omnichannel strategy. So what we did is that we doubled down our effort on digital channel to mitigate the risk of less offline footprint business. And secondly, we doubled down our R&D effort, which are again in line with these trends, which is around energy efficiency and smartness. So that one trend, I believe, of working from home is going to be very, very relevant and stay there for a very long time, if not completely working from home, but at least the hybrid one. Now that leads to two major things. One, people are going to spend more time at their home, which means they're going to consume more electricity. So in this category, energy efficiency is going to be a major innovation area, which we'll definitely foresee. And secondly, because in work from home, you'll have to have a better internet connectivity, which means people will go for more Wi-Fi, and hence there will be a huge demand for smart product. So I think we are at the very right time.
Absolutely. One is about energy saving, which contributes to sustainability, to the environment. Second is about, the budgets of a household. Clearly, any savings on, electricity, because we all are spending more time at home, whether it's education of our children, whether it's us consuming content, or the simple need of home being an office space now. We're working from home. We're actually spending much more time in our home. So clearly, consumption of devices has gone up, the consumption of electricity has gone up, and if you can help bring down that electricity bill, because possibly more lights are on, more digital devices are on,
fans are on.
Clearly you have a play that will only grow, and integration with smart devices will make sure you become seamlessly kind of integrated with whatever is part of the home. Smart homes also need smart solutions. Clearly you provide that. Sandeep Chhetri,
right.
Tell us a bit about your business. Tell NewsX and Business World viewers about your business, and tell us what have you done to stay relevant in the last 8 months.
Thanks, Anurag, for having me here. So a little bit about TradeIndia.com is a B2B marketplace. We cater SMEs, and almost 5.5 million SMEs, they use our platform to grow their business. So we say that we are a platform where we connect buyer and seller. So, if you're a buyer, you can come to our platform, search any products and connect with manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors. So it's a discovery platform where we help SMEs to, grow their business and help them increase the demand primarily. And almost, as I said, 5.5 million SMEs who are using our platform across 80,000 categories, whether it's starting from apparel, machinery, chemical, you name any of them. So we have all the manufacturers and suppliers database on the platform. To answer your question on the other side of it, what we have done in terms of, there are two aspects to it. Okay, one aspect on the people side, and the other aspect to the consumer side. In terms of people, that's of course this. Today the pandemic was nothing which we had heard about. Rather, this is
somebody in 1994 wrote a book about the pandemic and flu in Britain, and when he submitted the manuscript to a publisher, the publisher was spooked and thought the person was crazy and did not publish the book. The same publisher has published the book in 2020. So clearly somebody wrote about it in 1994. It seemed like a sci-fi movie. Somebody saying that there'll be a flu, that we won't be able to find a cure fast, and it will lead to destruction of both lives and livelihoods. It would be unthinkable. So clearly, never say never. So yes, it is the word unprecedented was possibly invented for COVID.
Absolutely, yeah. So so what we did as an organization, first we took the first people first approach, because in one day we had to think that we go remotely, and we had a 2,000 people team going remotely, working the next day itself. So we had the technology in place. So we gave that technology. We focused on the to build the team together, trusted them, and our team, HR team, and the other engagement team was so good enough to make them that the mental health is important, because people were not aware what to do next. And for the strategy team, it was like how the revenue will going to come, because our revenue comes directly from the SMEs who takes our packages, and SME was badly hit at that time, right? So we took a proactive approach. So proactive approach is like today we live digital, right? Into 2020, it's a digital economy, yeah.
Absolutely.
And everything, I call it in a different way, that E was trending, like, e-commerce, e-medicine,
logistics, e-education,
e-education, yeah.
E-entertainment. You can, everything we do today, we do virtually. I think, homes have been converted into cinema halls, they've been converted into educational institutes, they've been converted into offices, they've been converted into health centers. So clearly, every part of our life was touched by virtual interfaces because of the compulsion of staying indoors. Yeah. The key thing would be, Sandeep, to see what are these opportunities stay and what are these opportunities go away. Because some of the behaviors that we are showcasing are clearly forced on us. When we have a choice in hopefully a couple of months, we'll see what stays and what goes.
So just to add what we are looking at, we were looking at the future of digital, right? We thought that by 2025 we will have a digital economy. But thanks to pandemic, I'll say thanks to pandemic, the digital economy is just here, right, in 2020 itself. Okay, so and because we are a digital first company, we thought, okay, let's first focus on the people where the productivity went up, because people work remotely from their house. They were not fear of the pandemic now. Okay. Second was focus on the consumer side. What all tools we can give to SMEs to go digital. If you see in India, there are 63 million SMEs, and 37% of the SMEs are digitally connected. But we saw that kind of adoption from the SME also, that they want to go digital, they want to adopt digital, and they're ready for the digital transformation now, because digital has become the first line of business now. Okay, so they were ready to invest money on that. Of course, there are some restrictions to it. Like it is.
Yeah, they saw that digital is a way to recoup or multiply their investment. Yeah. It's no longer, I don't think anybody today asks the question whether e-commerce will grow or not, whether B2B e-commerce will grow or not. I remember I started Exchange for Media 20 years back to build a marketplace for the media industry. And, we were ahead of time, but I believe the time to build marketplaces in almost every sector is now. We may be an editorial product, but at the same time, content is glued to create commerce. Let me bring in Megha Sharma here. Megha, you may want to go ahead and ask the next set of questions.
I think I'm very curious, first of all, because of the topical issue that the country is facing. Nakul Upadhyay, agriculture trading is your forte. At this point of time, the kind of agitation that we have been seeing, the entire capital has been under siege. You talk about, the MSP issue, you talk about the APMC issue, but also when we talk about these corporates coming into the picture, and the One India, One Market plan that has been put forth by the Prime Minister, that has been the dream that has to be achieved. And exports is something that the government has also been looking. Farmer produce exports. The yields are not as high as perhaps, maybe a Gujarat is going ahead and witnessing it, or Maharashtra is going ahead and witnessing it. How does the same sentiment be put across to the farmers so that, it's a win-win situation both for the government as well as the Kisan?
First of all, we need to focus on creating liquidity for all crops, right? So Anurag also touched upon this point where, there are crops which are more water intensive, which are being grown. Or like you said, there's this MSP issue where there is over reliance on MSP in certain states now, and the crop pattern is too concentrated on wheat or crops which are directly to MSP, rice. So For that, I think the first thing, whether it's from the government or from private sector, is to create liquidity for all crops. Right? You cannot go to a farmer and say, do not grow wheat, grow aloe vera because aloe vera will fetch you.
It has higher yield. It has a higher price.
Higher yield.
It has a higher yield.
But that's the success model that has been followed in Gujarat.
Tons and tons of our crops, because we have lack of cold storages, of warehouses. You know how much food grains go wasted because of the lack of storages and warehouses at the right places. So clearly the government needs to invest, or private sector needs to collaborate with the government to invest in infrastructure for agriculture.
Right, absolutely. And Nakul, the Prime Minister was speaking about the Gujarat model just in fact, yesterday is what he had gone ahead and spoken, and he had given examples of the dragon fruit exports that have been multifold in the state of Gujarat, and they have gone across the world. And that's the yield, and that's the kind of development and transformation he is requiring from other states, especially when it comes to Haryana and Punjab, so that the yield is multifold, the returns are multifold, and exports are increased manifold. That's going to help not just the nation but especially the farmers' profits.
Yeah, I think the important point here is for farmer, you are talking about all his efforts concentrated in one sale, right? So all the effort that he puts in for half of the year is decided on one sale, right? And then you cannot ask the same guy, farmer, to take risk in terms of don't grow wheat, grow something else because that is good for you, right? Or more suited to your soil, or you cannot ask to get rid of MSP immediately. What we need and what was the need of the hour is to create alternatives. So if the farmer does not grow wheat, or if the farmer is not focused on MSP crops, does he get the liquidity as easily? So if somebody is not growing sugarcane and growing pulses, but the ecosystem around him is suited for sugarcane. So a sugar mill is 15 kilometers from his farm, but finding somebody who would procure all of his dal is kind of difficult.
So
right?
I think, so the government perhaps needs to create these ecosystems first of all, keep them rolling, give assurances, in fact go out on the markets, in fact on the borders, strike those deals then and there, and so that gives a reassurance to the farmers. And that's what we have been talking about. This is a charter that you've gone ahead and built out on NewsX as well. This is what the government needs to do to build that sort of a morale boosting exercise. That is the sort of reassurance exercise, so that the farmer starts believing in the government and does not think, because for the past 15 years and more you have been trying to bring reform, it's a populist measure that you go ahead and succumb to time and again. And this is something that is for
and Megha, dare I say, any kind of change, even progressive, I don't think any change is ever regressive. Most of the change is progressive. Is always met with resistance.
It is.
Because we are too set in our ways, and they are encumbered professionals, entities, organizations that benefit by having the status quo. Any change in status quo, as Nakul rightly said, can bring in a new set of players who can kind of take advantage of the opportunity in the right ethical way. So clearly that change worries a lot of people, and it is not surprising that we are seeing a resistance to the change. And I'm sure the dialogue between the farmers, or I say the farm sector entrepreneurs, and the government decision makers will create a middle ground at some stage. And dare I say that some people who have anti-national elements have clearly kind of infiltrated these movements, because anything that can keep India stable is a threat to the world. And I am not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a liberal person, and I'm saying this with fair amount of knowledge. I think the intent of the government is very progressive. It's very well laid out. It's just it challenges the status quo. So let me bring in Shruti Agarwal here. Shruti, if I had to ask you about your top 3 predictions for 2021, what would those be? I know you're not an astrologer, you're not a futurist, and I think the business of making predictions after 2020 is an even more dangerous one. But let's say, what are the top 3 trends that you see happening in 2021?
One of the largest trends I see is liquidity coming back, which affects NBFCs a lot. You know, with ex gratia moratorium gone, government support towards NBFCs and the financial sector will help the economy boom. The second one I would say is hopeful that everyone will be getting the vaccination. That's hopeful. I'm not an astrologer, can just be hopeful here. Third, you know, the mindset of burning money and just starting a company will go away. You know, no one's seen the future.
We are back to the Marwadi way of doing business.
Absolutely.
You spend money, make money, spend money. You know, how much money did you make on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis? Your costs have to be lesser than your, you know, revenues. Just, you know, valuations don't matter. And media has contributed to it by putting headlines, somebody raised 300 million, 500 million, and after 2 years they've been bought over by a smaller entity which was profitable, or a bigger entity which wanted to get into that business. So clearly you're right. These seem like three, you know, things that will definitely happen. And in the last months, 8 months, entrepreneurs have embraced, you know, profitability. I keep saying unicorns are no longer unicorns, but they're profitable unicorns, because profitability is something private equity and venture capitalists started to look at. Because if you minimize your losses or became profitable in the last 8 months, 2021 can be a game changer in terms of growth. And I'm fully convinced, you know, I was saying today at a symposium early in the morning that, you know, we underrate the efforts of the government sometimes in India. We're not grateful for what the government does. For example, in an advanced country like the US, the most advanced country in the world, highest GDP, highest per capita income, there were food riots 2 weeks back. In India, in the last 8 months, there haven't been any food riots. The government of India's program of making sure that a free ration is given to the bottom of the pyramid has kept people kind of, you know, in their homes, and there's been no social unrest. So clearly you know, no economy can thrive if there is social unrest. So clearly we sometimes, while we want the economy to grow faster and the government is making its intent clear by the finance minister making interventions 5 times in the last 8 months to be able to respond to what's happening in the environment, both from a COVID standpoint and an economic standpoint, 3 times the RBI making interventions to be able to provide liquidity by bringing down the rates. But dare I say the banks were still very conservative. I think in India, the banks need to loosen up their purses and, you know, they need to lend more, because when you lend, that's when you create growth. So clearly, I think liquidity improving in 2021, vaccination being distributed, which will take away the fear away. With the fear away, a lot of sectors will get the natural impetus. And third, clearly, the mindset change of entrepreneurs focusing on the basics and making their businesses profitable and not just, you know, chasing headlines for valuations will become the norm rather than an exception. Before we head into a break, I want to ask all the entrepreneurs, what are your top lockdown lessons? Let me start with Sandeep Chhetri. Sandeep, what are your top lockdown lessons? You'll have to unmute yourself while you unmute the Indian economy through your commerce venture. Yeah.
So first is, you know, that it has to be a proactive, you know, approach. It's, first, I've learned from them. Second is, you know, that first is not important, fast is important.
Yes, agility. The speed of making decisions, I love. But I keep saying there's nothing called first mover advantage. Yeah. These days you have a last mover advantage, you have a late mover advantage. As long as you can do it better than the other person, you can do it in a cheaper cost. Yeah. But I agree, agility is very important.
Yeah. And third, if you have to try right now, fail fast, move on. You know, that is what you know, we have learned in this 8 months time.
Thank you so much. Shibam, your top lockdown lessons?
Anurag, I think, you know, the first is life is completely uncertain. That is my first life lesson. Second,
take the first slide
is right. I'm kidding. Absolutely. And second is, you know, about you know, one should not ignore the hard facts of reality while being extremely positive about or optimistic about the end outcome. I mean, things are going to be changed at some point of time. So these are few of my life lessons.
Absolutely, life is uncertain.
And the third,
live in the moment, enjoy the moment. Second is, while we stay optimistic about the future, focus on now and note the realities of today. And while you focus on the possibilities of tomorrow, Nakul Upadhyay, your top 3 lockdown lessons.
I think first of all that we must never underestimate the resilience of unorganized. Right? So during the lockdown phase, when even really large organizations were struggling to manage their supply chain and get things going, your society, grocery stores was still able to fulfill all your needs, and that's a very complex supply chain behind that. Right? So run by numerous micro entrepreneurs who are getting their things right, adopting fast to Sandeep's point, being very, very agile, and adopting to the circumstances. So I think that's first point. The second point is around the Indian populace very, very friendly with them. Right? So we were in a segment which historically, and the general perception is that they would never adopt the technology fast enough. Right? The last so outside the India, the Bharat segment is as eager to adopt technology if they see the value.
Beautiful. I think the real growth of Indian GDP will happen when Bharat adopts technology and uses technology for go-to-market technology for every facet of what they do. So thank you so much. Megha, it may be time to take a break. Your last question before we take a break.
Shubham, I just want to understand a little bit more about your business. We've also spoken about, the co-founder of Attenberg. You've spoken about the challenges that you faced in wake of the pandemic. We've gone ahead and learned new things with regards to that. If you could, encapsulate for us, but very shortly in 30 seconds, because I'll take a break and I'll come right back after that.
Thank you.
Shubham, yes, go ahead. Before we take a break, yes.
Yeah, so I think in terms of business, I didn't get a question properly. So for the last question.
My question being that the things that you've gone ahead and learned because of the pandemic, the challenges obviously everybody has faced. Anurag coming all guns blazing, he's like, gone ahead and yet again launched yet a magazine, so that's hats off to him. And you all have been doing some really fantastic work. You're fighting all odds. What is it that has kept you going? What are those new things that you've discovered about yourself, your company, your employees? What is it that can be emulated in the days and years and months to come?
No, I think resilient is one word that if you want me to talk about, which can describe the entire scenario. When the lockdown hit in the month of March and April, everyone was uncertain about the growth of business. In fact, our team members' morale was extremely down. But the way transparently we managed the situation, we explained the problem statement, I think none of the team members left us during those dark hours of time. And I think the way we overcame the challenges, it's the only word that I can talk about is resilient. And I think, as Nakul has already mentioned in the last problem statement, that unorganized sector, or I will say the entire Indian population, the resilient is one thing that I'm extremely optimistic about.
Okay.
And that's what I think why FY 2021 will also be very, very important.
Okay, all right. So a resilient organizational structure, especially when it comes to your team, your core team, and that keeps you going through the hardships. On that note, I will slip into a short break. Come right back because we are watching Newsx's Business World initiative. It's the Atmanirbhar Bharat series. We're talking with the entrepreneurs who've gone ahead and taken on the challenge of the lockdown. It is the open market, and the GDP is now rising steadily. We'll take a break. Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. We are discussing a number of things with regards to the entrepreneurship, the businesses, how they are faring at this point of time, how are all the entrepreneurs who have joined me in this very special broadcast. I would like to go and ask a few questions to Sandeep Chetty, who's the CEO of Trade India. So, Sandeep, how's trade fared for you in these 9-10 months? What's the action plan when it comes to the next 6 months and the next year ahead?
Primarily what we are focusing is to help the small businesses go digital. Because, as I told you, digital adoption has really increased in the last couple of months. And we have seen fairly increased in terms of traction on the platform as well. So, if you compare with last year, there is a 50% increase in demand coming on the platform itself from the SMEs. When I talk about demand, basically these are all inquiries where they are sending these inquiries to their fellow, manufacturers and suppliers. So the 50% increase itself shows the kind of adoption and the SMEs are having. So what we are trying to do is we try to giving more tools and hands and legs to the SMEs. Primarily, for example, today it's a no-cash economy. Okay, when it's a no-cash economy, we are trying to give tools to SMEs how they can collect payment online. We have developed a platform called Trade Khata within Trade India, where they can create e-invoices, where they can create a payment link and share that payment link with their buyers and take the payment on the go. Because today people are afraid to give cash.
Okay.
So, and fairly, we have given lots of technologies to the SMEs. I'll give you one more example of technology. Like we give a video calling feature to the SMEs. So a buyer and seller can connect through our platform on video call. So that, that they can have that kind of physical meeting kind of experience through our platform itself. So bringing lots of new innovations on the technology side to help SMEs to connect with the buyers and help them to grow their business. So that is what we are working right now.
So Sandeep, I'm sure there must have been this entire surge of people looking in individuals, entities, SMEs, you mentioned about companies, coming in large numbers to you during this entire pandemic time. And also I want to understand, did you launch yourself during the lockdown? Because that's the idea that came to you that, the market is going to expedite now and I need to get into the things of it. Or was it something that you had already started beforehand and now it's expedited to your advantage?
Frankly speaking, we are a 28 years old company, but during this lockdown, what happened is we started speaking to the SMEs. So we tried to understand their challenge. What are the challenges they are facing? So primarily, we came up with 3 challenges. Okay, first challenge was generating demand because everybody was working from home. The lockdown was there. They didn't know what to do. So that was one of the challenge in terms of generating the demand. Okay? Because it was digital, it was very much possible when we talk about digital and marketing. Second challenge was the transformation, the digital transformation of the compliance. When I talk about the compliances, basically they didn't know how to work remotely. So we being a technology company, we are able to work remotely, but whatever the SMEs, they didn't know how to use video conferencing, they didn't know how to use cloud telephony.
Right.
So that was one challenge. The third challenge primarily was on the credit side of it. Because these SMEs, they work on hand-to-mouth kind of revenue, right? Whatever revenue that is coming in that month, maybe Shruti will be able to move, but it's hand-to-mouth revenue they work on, So it was a very big challenge, and credit, nobody was giving credit at that point of time. Even you have demand in place, so nobody was ready to extend that credit. No SMEs were ready to extend that credit to their buyers. So these are the 3 primary challenges, and we tried to focus on first 1 and 2. Third was, of course, we were trying to partner with NBFCs to help them to connect. Of course, there was so much economic stimulus from the government of India regarding credit and all. But I believe that focus, reforms has to be there so that this announcement should reach out to the people. So it didn't reach out to the SMEs at all. To be very frank. Lots of big announcements were made, but that didn't reach out to the people. So these were the fairly challenges, and we worked on those challenges in the last 8 months.
Okay, fantastic.
And came up with some innovative products.
Fantastic. Shruti, you must resonate with the issues that Sandeep has gone ahead and spoken about. If you could go ahead and what were the kind of innovations that you brought about? This was an unprecedented time, and how are you able to tackle it going forth in the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 years? What's the action plan?
So one of the things that happened during the pandemic was announcement of moratorium and extension of moratorium. The funny thing is Hindi language does not have a word for moratorium. The only thing that comes to people's mind is EMI mark, which is not the case. So we went through a long process of educating. We were one of the first fintechs who made sure we are educating the customer and telling them not to take the moratorium because they are still bearing the interest on interest. It took a long drawn process, but I'm glad a lot of our customers did not get impacted because of the education that was put up. We went month on month educating the customers. 6 months it took, and till date we're still educating our customers. So one of the top 3 things on our list is to communicate, over-communicate is what we're doing in our company, whether it's with the employees, with the customers, or with us as team members. Communication during work from home is very, very tough. This trend is here to stay. So communication, whether through VCs or through telephone, is happening a lot, and we think this is something we need to build upon as that requires upskilling your team so that they can learn to communicate and ask for help, not be embarrassed. That's one of the top things. The second thing for a woman, I've seen a lot of startups happening, home bakers, cloud kitchens. A lot of women have entered the workspace.
Yeah, homepreneurs have benefited from the do-it-yourself economy.
Yeah.
There's a full do-it-yourself economy, and women who are at home, now they know that being at home is an enabler, not a hampering to being an entrepreneur. So clearly it has helped them unlock their own potential.
Absolutely. Now teaching them about how to manage their finances, how their credit imprint matters, how they can control their own life and not be dependent is another task we've taken as a company. And the third thing is just, as I said, upskilling our team members in terms of e-education. A lot of platforms are now available, making sure the teams are ready for the next growth in the platform we are on.
Okay, all right. That's brilliant. Shubham, you want to come in and share your experience as well with regards to the challenges? Energy efficient ceiling fans. How many were the people who were going ahead and buying that during the pandemic? How have things changed? What were the innovative ways that you went about fighting the challenges?
Yeah, absolutely, Megha. I think we saw absolutely zero revenue in quarter1. And then once things started getting unlocked, we saw a quick recovery in our quarter-on-quarter number. And I think now we are at a better than pre-pandemic level. What we did during our quarter1 and quarter2 is that we focused a lot on digital, and there we increased our market share very significantly. And we, being a small company and being very, very agile in our business and processes, that helped us really, really well. The learning that I had in last 9 months and the outlook that I have for next year at least is that even if I'm very optimistic about the industry in general, but there are some uncertainties which we should not ignore. And one major negative impact is that because of supply chain disruption, the cost has gone up, which is going to impact negatively next year, because for the consumer, for across appliances, cost is definitely going to increase depending on category to category. I mean, in our category, it is expected to be around 10%. And I think it is also because of some disruptions of supply chain because of the Atmanirbhar intention. So I think that's a very good initiative by Government of India, making or driving Indians to manufacture more or to increase that industry inside. But there will be some short-term negative impact, which we should be very, very which you should not ignore. So I think next year I'm positive about the outlook, but still there are uncertainties which you should not ignore.
Okay, all right. Uncertainties that need to be fought in the coming 6 months.
You know what I would like to ask, Megha?
Yeah.
I would like to ask all these 4 entrepreneurs on the show, as they enter 2021, what are the milestones that they're chasing for their own businesses? Sandeep Chhetri, you're a commerce play, you're a marketplace. What are the growth targets you set yourself for 2021?
See, in terms of the growth, we're looking at more than 30-35% of growth in terms of the revenue. That we're very optimistic, because today, as I told you, we are a digital-first company, and the SMEs are adopting digital. Okay. Second, the whole idea focus will be giving more technology to the SMEs so that they can pivot this difficult time. Okay. And by technology means the ease of doing business. Today, lots of things have been spoken in terms of doing ease of business in India, but not much have been done in terms of the technology transformation for the SMEs per se. So there are lots of challenges in terms of the technology adoption for the SMEs because the knowledge sharing is not there. So we would like to focus more on giving them education, making them to adopt the technology and do the transformation for, primarily. Third focus will be to bring more demand for the exporters globally. So if you see in Indian exporters, they are badly hit, and our platform, because it's a B2B platform which has been accessed by people globally. And if you see on Trading Day itself, the 30% of the traffic comes from outside India. So we would like to bridge that, the gap and make sure that all the exporters are being connected to the right importers from global community. And finally, of course, payment is one area which we are looking at. The SMEs are really facing problem. So we'll make sure that robustness will come in the payment as a platform, so that it is very, very easy for them to collect payment on a click of a mouse. That's what that's what we are trying to build.
Absolutely. So one is credit, the other is go-to-market, and third is processing, bringing down the cost of doing business. Shibam, that's what Sandeep Kshetri has set for himself, to be able to do a 30% growth in the coming year, and on the base that they sit, 30% is a very large number. What is your milestone targets for 2021?
Well, Anurag, so I think, for 2021, we are very, very confident that we'll be able to achieve more than 70% growth, looking at the post-recovery and because of relatively low base. Second is that, we need to focus on localizing supply chain. We had some dependencies on China and other countries, which definitely we have taken as a milestone to, completely localize. So that is going to happen in the next 1.5 years. And the third, as I said in past also, we are doubling down our effort in R&D, majorly to deliver products which is in line with consumer demand, which is around energy efficiency and smartness. So I think we are going to launch one more category by next year, which is beyond fan. So these are the three primary milestones that we have taken in Atambur. And the major uncertainties around cash collection from the market that is receivable, so which is again linked to payment. And so these are the things that can deter the growth plan, growth ambition that we have. But I'm very hopeful and
absolutely. The only way of surviving is being optimistic about the future and making it happen. As they say, hope is not a plan. You need to act.
Right.
Nukul, what are your top priorities for 2021, and what are the growth targets you set yourself for 2021?
Yeah, so we have aggressive growth targets. I think entrepreneurs are intrinsically over-optimistic, and that's the only reason people start the startup journey. So we saw 100% growth in 2020 in spite of the COVID lockdowns, and we would certainly want to do better than that in 2021. What we have realized post the pandemic is, you have to now just normalize the risk factor that, things do go wrong. And when they do, what actually keeps your team going is, I think, the clarity about the mission, right? So as long as you are very clear why you're doing what you're doing. So, for us, it's about, getting better prices for producers and at the same time, increasing the affordability of healthy, fresh produce for the end users. And to do that, we have to, individually target each friction point in a transaction, right? So in 2021, we would go beyond our initial set of friction points that we targeted in 2020. So we focused in 2020 primarily on bridging the trust deficit. So removing that information asymmetry and allowing people to discover verified, trustworthy counterparties. Now, as we move to 2021, we realize that a lot of our users who have been able to grow their business, grow their volumes over time, are seeing next level of bottlenecks, which is, access to credit, access to logistics. And I think logistics would be a major play for us in 2021.
Right. If you make an impact and make a difference to the stakeholders, businesses automatically grow. And you're right, creating trust in a new segment that are adopting a new way of doing business is key. Shruti Agarwal, what are your top milestones for 2021 and what kind of growth do you envisage?
So the top milestone we would want is to be the credit line card in everyone's wallet, at least in the metros, and increase knowledge about credit to the suburban areas, which we are working towards. We are already pan-India. We want to go deeper into these areas. So that's one thing. Growth, we're looking at anything between doubling or tripling is what we did last year or this year, in fact. And the third one is focus on hiring more women in my team. That's the main agenda I have as a company. Going from 30% to at least 40-50%, gender equality is something we focus on a lot.
We are, I think, achievable with the kind of momentum you built in the last 8 months. Megha Sharma, normally you ask people questions, but let me ask you, as a media professional and somebody who makes an impact through content, what are your top 3 goals professionally in 2021?
I think professionally, the pandemic that has gone ahead and taught me so many various things. And that's something that I'll be taking forward for years together. It's taught me a lot of patience. You need to fight with your frustration, and endurance is something that you need to go and focus on an individual level. But content creation is something I have magically learned that, even though with the limited resources that you have, if you are innovative enough, if you are creative enough, if you have the drive and you're passionate about things, content can be created sitting back at home. And in fact, we've gone ahead and spoken to a plethora of people in various fields, various industries, especially those who were facing the lockdown worries and the lockdown woes. And they have all come out, they were gung-ho, they were very happy and appreciated the effort that had been brought about in bringing them on a television screen and giving you some concrete sort of content that would be watched by everybody, not just having those political debates and a tutu meme happening between one leader and the other. That's okay. That's politics, and let's move beyond that. But what are the real issues? What common people face? What is perhaps a hotelier facing at this point of time? A restaurateur facing at this point of time? Maybe a kirana store wala is facing at this point of time. What are their issues? Those are the ones that we're talking about. And then that was a fantastic, getting a periphery or a bird's eye view of every single individual's or entity's viewpoint with regards to the entire pandemic. So that was a learning point, and I would definitely take it forward in the years to come together.
We wish you luck, and I look forward to hosting this show with you and your other colleagues at NewsX every week. It's become part of my day and become part of my life. I look forward to it, and I've met bright brains and people who are making impact in their own segments and contributing to India's resilience and growth story. So I look forward to having conversations that have an impact both ways and contribute to the consciousness of content that we have. And I would say my top lockdown lessons have been 5, and my aspirations going forward in 2021 are 3. My top 5 lockdown lessons are: never say never. Don't say this can't be done, this won't happen, because we don't know. And we don't even know what we don't know, right? Second is less is more. You can do with less resources.
Absolutely.
Resources, money is not the
Absolutely.
most important kind. Focus, passion, drive, as you said, are most important. Call it the PhD of success: passion, hunger, and desire. Third is, focus on the basics. Shruti talked about, Nupul, Shivam talked about costs being lesser than, revenues. So, clearly you focus on the right thing that drive value in your business. Fourth is, I call it the compassion capital. I think what grows businesses is how you treat people, your internal and external stakeholders, how compassionate you are to them, and I call it the compassionate capital. And last but not the least, everything in life, we read in Bhagavad Gita, is temporary. This shall too pass. So use this time to transform. And my 3 goals in 2021 are, one is personal goal of being more healthy. Second is a professional goal of building a purely video enterprise in the business space, and third is create businesses that have a social impact, in a true sense of social impact. Every business needs to have a social impact, but make social impact part of the strategy and core fabric of what you do. These are my 3 top goals as I go into 2021. Back to you, Megha.
Absolutely, absolutely. I thank everybody. I thank Anurag for again collating such a wonderful, insightful panel. but I will have to thank you all at this point of time, because coming up next is a very special broadcast. It's a topical issue, agriculture, and we have some of the top people in the industry, in the ministry, going ahead and making that agri charcha and finding out everything that is there and dissecting it and finding a solution for this farmer agitation that is at this point of time the bane of the capital. Take a break.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.